Hello, welcome back. Right, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to revisit a game that I did a video of about a year back now. Eric and the Floaters, released by Sinclair in 1983. Now it's by Hudson Soft. Now one of the things you'll notice about this is its similarities to the Bomberman games, one of Hudson Soft's sort of signature series, and I found it purely by accident. I used to go through World of Spectrum and sometimes just hit the random sort of button and see what it threw up. And on the occasion when I played this last, it threw up, this was one of the games that was ventured forth by the random button. So it's a game that I revisit every now and then because it's really sort of quite charming and fun and playable in short little bursts, and those are the kind of games I sort of like most because I don't have to think about them. They require no sort of brain power. I'm still no good at it, but I thought it would be nice to sort of revisit it. Now if you're a fan of the Bomberman games, then I've played one on one system, and I can't remember what system it was, but basically you are Eric, and you've got to escape the maze whilst avoiding the floaters. I'm sure Hudson Soft didn't realise back in 1983 quite the connotations in the English language of what a floater is slang for. But floaters in this game are those balloon type things with legs. Now what you have to do is make your way around the maze, avoiding them and trying to blow them up by placing bombs, whilst making sure that you don't get caught in the sort of afterblast yourself. Now you can see the walls of each particular maze. They can be shattered in places by the bombs, and the way you finish a level is by either defeating every floater or by shattering a wall and uncovering the exit to the level. And there are various bits and pieces of treasure that you can find as well and collect for your sort of high scores. Now I was surprised when I sort of found this game when it sort of came forward, because it doesn't look anything spectacular. As you can see, it is quite an early title for the Spectrum, but it was one of the occasions when pressing the random button threw up a little gem. A lot of the time there was some awful crap that I had to play, and I did do a few videos of series where a random 5 series where I pressed the random button 5 times and I played whatever sort of came out, and I must get back to sort of doing those. But I always quite enjoyed this game. It's one that I come back to just to try and get a little bit further, or to just to sort of like waste 10 minutes. Been playing it for about an hour today, and it's really good fun. I quite enjoyed it. Now what you saw on that stage was adds a bit of a challenge there, in that sometimes you don't have control of when Eric lays a bomb. If you no puns intended or anything, which adds a sort of extra sort of layer of challenge. Now there's also a sort of early version of Pang by Hudson Soft available for the Spectrum. It's called Bubble Buster, but it's not anywhere near as playable as the Spectrum version of Pang, or any other sort of versions of Pang, I don't think. If you are familiar with Bubble Buster, let me know. If you've played it before, let me know, etc. Now I've been wanting to come back and sort of like revisit this for a while, but I've never happened across a physical copy of this game. I do like to sort of play as much as I can on the actual machine itself, using actual tapes rather than using Spectaculator, because I just like the sort of experience of it all. Now that's not to say there's anything wrong with emulation. This is a discussion that pops up quite frequently, and I'd like to sort of know your views on it. What do you prefer? Do you prefer playing games on the actual systems themselves, or do you prefer to use emulation? Emulation obviously is clearly an awful lot simpler. You don't have to any sort of messing around with setting things up, messing around with tapes that may or may not load after sort of 35 years, etc. But I'd be interested to sort of see your thoughts. There's pros and cons for both ways of doing things. Now, you really must excuse me. I've got an awful cold. It's I don't know where I picked it up from, but I've just not been able to shake it. I'm dosed up on cold and flu tablets. I've got Vicks up my nose. I've got Albus oil. I've got one of those horrible sort of nasty tickly coughs, and I just can't shake the bloody thing. I've had it for about 10 days now, so I do apologise for that. But this is Eric and the Floaters is a really fun little game, and you know, I like the fact that it was one that I'd never sort of heard of before or seen before, and it was that's the beauty of being a sort of fan of the ZX Spectrum. You know, there's so many games you can't possibly have played every single one. You can see the exits just popped up there, and I'll try and make my way to that. You can't possibly have played every single one, and that means that there are going to be some hidden gems that you were never familiar with that just sort of pop up. Now, games such as that I've collected physical copies of recently, such as Caves of Doom, Nifty Lifty, absolutely fantastic little games, and I didn't know a single thing about them back in the day. And it's only because, you know, the hobby's been reignited over the past couple of years that I've discovered them, and that's amazing. Anyway, that was just a quick overview of this really sort of fun, addictive little game. Check it out if you wish to. Let me know your thoughts. If you like the video, please let me know. If you wish to do so, please subscribe as well. If you are going to subscribe, please make sure that you join in discussions, etc. And if you've got any suggestions of anything you'd like to see done on the channel, apart from deleted, then by all means leave them in the comments below. Thanks ever so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye.